Good morning. So the purpose of this video is to review some parts of the some concepts that we have seen so far. So this video is about composition of functions. Remember, with the compositions of functions, we do not solve for anything. However, what we do, we construct a composite function, try to see what's the algebraic rule coming from the two functions, or we can decompose them. The other thing we've learned, if we construct a composite function, what will be the domain of the resultant function, f of g of x, g of f of x. So we have two functions here. The outside function is x squared plus 1. Inside function is square root of x minus 2. So what was this outside inside thing mean? So we have an input, x, a function inside, in this case, if it is f of g of x, works on it and create an output, which is g of x or y values. Then f take this output and act on it, and then f of g of x will be created. So with this chain to be realized smoothly, or we don't want to end up any D&E result, so we really interested in what is the inside function, in this case g, right? So then g will produce meaningful outputs, and then we look at the domain of the resultant function if necessary. So then f will produce meaningful outputs. Okay, so inside function, in this case g. So we're so much interested in the domain restriction of g of x. Let's try to figure out what is the rule of the composite function. So g has take as inputs minus 2 and take square root of them. Okay, what does f of f do? So the rule f of f was it takes the input, square it, and add 1. All right, so that's what's going to happen with the output coming from g. We will square it and add 1. All right, and then we are going to end up with x minus 2 plus 1. So our resultant function or composite function f of g of x will be equal to x minus 1. So if now we're going to decide the domain. As we're deciding the domain, if we just look at this function without thinking the composite action, we would say that, okay, the domain will be all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity. But that would not be right, because our inside function, g of x, is x minus 2, right? And that tells us that x minus 2 should be greater than or equal to 0. Let me not skip steps. So x should be greater than or equal to 2. It means that domain of g is going to be 2 included to positive infinity. So I need to adhere that. I need to obey this rule to be able to produce meaningful g of x output results, so f of x can act on it. So this domain will be the domain of this function, and that should be the answer of your question in the case that we're asking you determine the domain and find FOG, f of g of x. Okay, hopefully it was helpful and you can do the assignment problems. Well, see you in the next video.